The Denver Broncos improved to 2-5 on the season after their victory on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. How did the Broncos win the game? Plus, you'll get locker room reaction from players like Justin Simmons, PJ Locke, and Alex Singleton. You're going to get all that on today's brand new episode of Good Morning Broncos. Good morning, Broncos Country. Welcome to another episode of G&B, your daily Denver Broncos conversation. Hopefully you pour yourself a cup of coffee along the way here as we break down the Denver Broncos Week 7 victory, 19-17 over the Green Bay Packers. I'm Cody Roark, Broncos reporter for Mile High Sports. And just a reminder, Broncos Country, as you're watching, such a big week for Colorado sports this week. Look, you get a Victory Monday episode of G&B. The Denver Nuggets, they open up the season on Tuesday night against the LA Lakers. They banner-raising ceremony. Players are going to get their rings. It's a big time. And Ryan Blackburn will have you covered with all the action on the Pick Action Roll podcast. Plus, Arif Dean has you covered here with everything Colorado Avalanche related to the Avs. Hot start. Mile High Sports is every team, every day. So do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button down below so you never miss out on what's going on with all your favorite sports teams here in Colorado here. Anyways, Broncos Country, hey, look, Victory Monday. Congratulations. Good morning. Nice cup of coffee here to get us through the day. But, you know, for the Broncos, I felt like the overall vibe in this game on Sunday, Denver coming away on top with a 19-17 victory over Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and the Green Bay Packers, who are going through their own variety of ups and downs. It almost slipped away a little bit from the Broncos, right? And I think for me, sitting up here and watching this game, I felt like, you know, Denver was in control of this game really from start through three quarters. And there really was never a doubt. And when Denver went up 16-3 after a beautiful play design in terms of Russell Wilson finding Courtland Sutton for a wide open touchdown, I thought to myself, all right, hey, you know what? This is what the Broncos need from a confidence building standpoint. Well, momentum. Like you said, Denver got it in that point, but then they lost it on the next possession on the defensive side. And we'll dive deeper into that in today's episode of the show. But, you know, ideally, the one thing I want to pinpoint here is I want to address this early on because this is just something that frustrates me, being a competitor, being a former athlete, being a coach. There's fans out there, believe it or not, that are mad that the Broncos won, right? And for me, it's crazy because as a media member, I usually get the brunt of whatever the fan base is feeling, and I like to be able to communicate how the fan base is feeling. But to me, I've never understood as a competitor how you want the team that you root for to go out there and lose. You want the players to go out there and just lay down and lose just so they can get a great draft pick. I don't know what world we live in where this is the ideology. And to be honest with you, if you're ever a competitor, this isn't something that's in your DNA. Like, in my opinion, I think that mentality right there, it's a loser mentality. And people say, well, you know, winning games is a losing mentality if nothing ever changed. Like, folks, do you understand how hard it is to win in pro football? Do you know how hard it is to win in the NFL? I mean, it is one of the hardest things. And look, the goal is to win football games. And ideally, yeah, the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, which in your lifetime, most of your lifetimes, you've seen the team that you root for win 3 Super Bowls, folks. I think this would be a little bit of a different conversation if Denver's never won a Super Bowl in their entire existence. They've won 3 in my lifetime, the 29 years that I've been alive, right? And for so many of you that are watching, and there are so many fans who are in their 50s and 60s, and I appreciate you so much for watching the show, that they're like, you know what, we've seen worse things. We've been through bad things, talking about what they've been through as fans with this football team. They've endured some bad times, right? This is football. This is sports. There's going to be lapses. There's going to be times where you're going through a bad spurt. And look, Denver's going through an 8-year spurt right now. Yeah, it's unpleasant, right? But you know what? There are teams out there in the NFL that have fans that have never seen, or teams that have never won a Super Bowl here. So the idea that, hey, these guys need to go out there and intentionally lose games just so we could get better draft capital and maybe get a quarterback. At the end of the day, there's no guarantee that's going to work, right? So the objective of the game is to win. You play to win the game. As cliche as it may sound, you play to win the game. That stuff bothers me. That's just not in my DNA. And that's not in these guys in the locker room's DNA. And it's not in the coaching staff's DNA. And for a large majority of the fan base, that's not in their DNA about being a sports fan is hoping that their team loses. That's just so weird to me. So felt like I had to address that here early on Good Morning Broncos here, but let's get into maybe the flow of the game here. We talked about Russell Wilson, Courtland Sutton, you know, the touchdown connection that they had to give them a 16-3 lead in this game in the third quarter. Well, momentum, we talk about the swing, Denver captured it right there. And then we could talk about maybe what happened here. And I think this is something that obviously there's some shuffling that had to go on. Broncos safety Kareem Jackson was ejected for the second time this season for unnecessary roughness. Now, in my opinion, going back and you watch the replay, like Kareem is leading with his shoulder. He never launches himself. He never leaves his feet. He's going to make a hard tackle and he's going low. I don't understand what more the NFL can do in a situation like that for a guy whose job is to stop the offense and stop the receiver from catching the football. He gets thrown out of the game. He gets penalized for it. And I get it. He's a repeat offender in the eyes of the NFL. So he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt from the officiating crew. But at some point, folks, I think we're going to be having a conversation here in the next 5 to 10 years where the NFL is going to become the NFL, the National Flag Football League. This is not like they're going to take away contact from this game at some point. And to be honest with you, it bothers me. We all know the risks. Like as players, you ever played the game, you understand the risks when you sign up. You know, hey, this is a contact sport. We're going out there and we're laying it out. And look, there's a narrative that's been painted that Kareem Jackson is a dirty player. He's not. Like I can tell you this. Like most people who say that don't know Kareem Jackson, don't know how hard he plays. Like this is how Kareem has played his entire career, a hard-hitting, thumping defensive player. And if you want to call him a dirty player because he's hitting guys hard, like obviously, yeah, the one against Logan Thomas, you shouldn't have launched yourself there. But that Kareem's not a dirty player. This is a game that's played at the fastest speed possible against the fastest athletes in the world. And your room for error is very minimal. And the ultimate goal is to prevent that guy from catching a pass or scoring a touchdown. It's a tough position when we've seen guys like Darian Stewart, TJ Ward, heck, back in the day, Steve Atwater, Bob Sanders, Ed Reed, the way that these guys played the game, they did stuff like this. They hit people as hard as this. And you know what? It was embraced by the NFL. John Lynch, another great example of a guy who just destroyed dudes across the middle of the field. These guys will go bankrupt in today's NFL if they were playing there because of how the rules are structured. It's frustrating. I feel for Kareem. Kareem's obviously been a 14-year vet. He's been around the game, and it's never been an issue, right? But now in today's NFL, it is an issue. So for me, I just have a huge problem with that. But that play right there, the hit, it extended the Packers' drive after, what was going on there. That led to obviously some more turn of events here for the Broncos. And we would see that the Packers would capitalize on offense, a unbelievable catch there by Romeo Doubs. Jordan Love threw it, and there's almost simultaneous possession with Patrick Surtain. Pat feels like he should have had an interception. Gene Steratore says it should have been an interception. The officials in the pool report after the game said that it didn't matter that Surtain got both of his feet down first, that's not real. We'll see what the NFL decides to say about it. Maybe this week we'll find some clarity on it. But Doubs holds on for a touchdown. Okay, now it makes it interesting. It makes it 16-10. Now the Denver Broncos have a 6-point lead. And that's like, oh, no. There's still an entire quarter left to play here in the fourth. Well, the fourth quarter comes around. PJ Locke obviously has to step in here for Kareem Jackson, who got ejected there. And the defense had to burn 2 timeouts because they didn't have the right personnel on the field. And look, Sean Payton ripped into Vance Joseph for that. But when it mattered, the offense was going downfield. For me, I think that they stalled out, and that's where we started to see like, okay, hey, this team cannot overcome bad momentum, right? So 10-16, okay, bang. The Packers get the ball back, and once again, they're driving downfield. Okay, Denver's defense, it's 4th and goal here. And all of a sudden, Jordan Love just uncorks a pass. It gets deflected, and it lands right into the hands of a wide receiver, Jaden Reed. And all of a sudden, now the Broncos are trailing 17-16 in this game. And to me, I was just thinking, man, this team, nothing can ever go right for this team. Like anything that can go wrong does go wrong. And it's just the Broncos are cursed because the type of way that it played out, it was frustrating. It was weird to see. And I was like, man, Denver had control of the 16-3, and now they're trailing 17-16. So that put a lot of pressure here on the Broncos offense on their ensuing possession with over, I think, 3 minutes left in this game. They had a chance to go march downfield there. And look, I think a lot of that was based on the run game in terms of what they were able to do. They were able to spring some big runs there. Javonte Williams and obviously Jaleel McLaughlin had some big days there. But Courtland Sutton had a catch, and then Jerry Jeudy had a deep over catch. And then he got slugged, where guys don't want to get slugged. Went down. Luckily, he's okay. He was in good spirits in the locker room after that. But that helped set things up. And the Broncos, they had to settle for a 52-yard field goal. And Will Lutz, big deal Will, as we talk about, as many fans say, there's another nickname that fans say that rhymes with Lutz that I can't say, like big something Lutz. We can't say that here on the airwaves. He came up big, 4 for 4 on his field goals, and obviously he nailed a 52-yard field goal and made his only extra point attempt of the afternoon to give Denver the 19-17 advantage. So now the Broncos defense was on deck. First play, they do a really good job of kind of containing, and then all of a sudden, A.J. Dillon pops off a big catch and run out of a screen game and gets downfield to about the 50-yard line, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, man, Denver's defense, they bent, but then they broke a little bit, and okay, Green Bay's going to be set up for a game-winning field goal. Didn't work out that way for the Packers. There was a holding call, luckily, that backed them up and made it 3rd and 20, and that's where Jordan Love, he heaved the ball downfield down the right side for one of his receivers there, and P.J. Locke made the play of the game, intercepting the pass, and that would seal the Broncos' victory at Empower Field at Mile High. They improved to 2-5 on the season with the matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs coming up, but let's take you back to the locker room here, Broncos countries. We got to catch up with P.J. Locke, who obviously got a game ball, made a tremendous play. And this is a guy who, folks, has been dealing with so much adversity just in his NFL career. He's had some highs and lows, but when he stepped onto the field, he's been big in big moments. Here's what P.J. Locke had to say.
Man, when I got put on IR, man, I was discouraged, man. And, Jay Sims and KJ pulled me over, and they was like, man, hey, man, just stay engaged, stay engaged with everybody. With the game plan, with going to DB dinners and stuff like that. And anytime I was on the sideline, I was walking around with the iPad, following my DB coach, listening to every call that was on the field, seeing how teams were attacking us, and I think that paid dividends for me. And I can only thank God for it. I give God all the glory for it.
And I'm just so happy for PJ, just getting to know PJ over the last 3 or 4 years and just seeing the work that he puts in behind the scenes, being a key special teams guy for them. Being on IR was tough, but I tell you what, this DB room, these guys are so close together. I love what they do. Every Thursday night, they go out and they do DB night. So they go bowling, they go, they play games, they go do stuff together. But it all starts off with a dinner, then an activity. But there's a brotherhood in this locker room. There's a bond that these guys have, and they include other position groups as well on DB night. And it's just a great thing to see because I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's important. We talk about wins and losses, we talk about football, but at the end of the day, these guys are building bonds with each other that are, going to last a lifetime. I think that in the grand scheme of things, in this thing that we do life, like we love football, I love doing my job here, but in the grand scheme of things, it's about the impact and it's about the people you have around you in life. And I love that the Broncos encapsulate that as well. And one guy who helps support that is obviously safety Justin Simmons, who's a big proponent of that and obviously one of the major stakeholders here in terms of the Broncos and the impact value that he has on the defense here. Here's what he had to say about P.J. Locke's interception.
That is a one-on-one type of play that P.J. made. Basically playing the half field and to run just outside of the numbers to come get number 2 running a deep over route. And to pick it, pass breakup is like going to be a heck of a play, but to have the pick to seal the game, I know that was a big play and everyone knows a big play, but I hope he gets the credit he deserves on that play because that was a heck of a play that not a lot of guys can make.
And when you go back and look at the replay, it's a tough play to make. And for PJ to be able to do that, he found the wheel, he extended, and bang, made a great play there. And I think kind of going back to my point here earlier that I was talking about, when one bad thing happens, the Broncos seemingly can't find a way to recover. They ended up finding a way in this game here. But Broncos safety Justin Simmons also felt the same exact way.
One of the things that we need to continue to work on is there always seems to be like that one play that happens and we can kind of get caught up in maybe like, oh, that was a bad call, this, that, or the other. But you got to move on to the next play. And in the second half, we just were doing a terrible job of getting off the field. We had opportunities and third downs and things like that. And we kept saying, we're going to make a play, believing it. And PJ came up with a big one.
And look, you're going to have to clean up those things because Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, who you've already faced, and look, obviously you held them to 1 touchdown in the last game. They're coming off a performance where Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns and just carved up the Los Angeles Chargers defense. I'll be very, very curious to see maybe how the game plan adjusts or changes here for Denver this week going against them. And look, now there's a new receiving threat. McCole Hardman added back into the mix here for Kansas City. There's a lot of noise, and obviously with 2 weeks, a week and a half until the NFL trade deadline, a lot of people are talking about, okay, what are the Broncos going to do? As the Athletics' Diana Rossini said that the Broncos are not going to be doing a fire sale. There is a lot of outside noise here, but I liked what Broncos inside linebacker Alex Singleton, I liked what he had to say about just the guys in the room. It's about the guys that are in that locker room. Nothing else. None of the other outside noise matters.
Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just us guys in this room. You know, everyone else can count us out, whatever. Do whatever you guys want. We're gonna keep coming to work. We're gonna keep playing, and if we keep doing what we're doing, we'll keep winning more.
I agree with Alex 110%. Folks, if you've ever been in a locker room, you ever played any sport, you understand it's about the people that are in that room, in that locker room. Doesn't matter who's on the outside. Doesn't matter what the people in the crowd, the fans say. It doesn't matter what, parents, angry parents, if you're a high school coach or anything like that. It doesn't matter what they say. It matters about what you're doing inside that locker room, because you and those people that you are going to battle with every single day on whatever sport it may be, only you understand the sacrifices that you have all made to be in that position where you're at. Nobody knows what that's like except the players inside that locker room. So despite all the outside noise, this team is remaining strongly intact together inside the locker room. And I think that's a great, great sign to see here going forward here. But Broncos Country, that'll wrap up today's episode of Good Morning Broncos, a Victory Monday edition. Go ahead and go pour yourself another cup of coffee. Thank you so much for joining me here this morning on Mile High Sports YouTube page. Once again, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're close to 4K subscribers here on this channel. It would mean the world to us if you hit that and you help us get one step closer so we can bring you all the action that you want and that you deserve on Colorado sports. I'm Cody Roark, Broncos Country. See you tomorrow for a brand new episode, GMB.